Under the olive tree knits, working a diamond lace stitch pattern. The diamond lace stitch pattern is one that I've used in quite a few of my designs. It's a nice simple stitch pattern and a great introduction if you're new to lace knitting. I use diamond lace in my Dappled Days shawl pattern. The stitch pattern is worked over 6 rows, and 3 of those rows are purl rows, so it's only the 3 right side rows that have the yarn overs and decreases that make the lace stitches. Just to say, if you are new to lace knitting and or reading knitting charts, the Dappled Days pattern actually comes with a Charts Explained tutorial. I'll pop a link in the notes if you want to find out more. The same stitch pattern is also used in my diamond lace purse. This is a free pattern, and again I'll pop a link in the notes if you want to download a copy. So I'm going to be working the diamond lace stitch with a bead in the centre, as you can see here in my diamond cascade shawl. With this shawl, the same diamond lace stitch is used throughout, so once you've worked it a few times, you'll quickly get the hang of it. And in this video, I'll show you some tips on reading the lace so you can see exactly where the stitches should happen. I've worked a little swatch of 18 stitches and already knitted 2 diamond shapes with a bead in the centre. So now I'll go ahead and knit row 1 of the stitch pattern. I've started my diamonds 8 stitches in on this swatch, so I'll just go ahead and knit those first 8 stitches. Okay, so I've got to the point where I need to knit the next 2 stitches together, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Then bring the yarn to the front for a yarn over, and then carry on knitting. So at the end of row 1, your stitches should look like this, with the knit 2 together followed by the yarn over stitch. Row 2 is a purl row, so I'm just going to go ahead and purl the entire row. Okay, so now we get to row 3, which is a fun row, and on this row we're going to be making some more decrease in yarn over stitches, plus we're going to be adding a bead to that centre stitch. So I'm just going to knit up to the point where I need to make the first decrease, which is a knit 2 together stitch. So I'm at the point where I need to make a knit 2 together stitch now, and I can tell I'm at the right point because the next stitch up is a knit stitch, and the stitch after that is the knit 2 together stitch that we made on row 1. So I'm going to knit those 2 together, and you'll see that it's created this nice diagonal line of decreases. Bring the yarn to the front, ready for the next yarn over, and then I'm just going to grab a crochet hook and a bead and just pop that bead onto the crochet hook. Take the crochet hook and insert it into the next stitch on the left hand needle, and another way to double check that you're in the right place is that we should be putting the bead on the stitch that was made from the yarn over in row 1. Slide the bead from the crochet hook and over the stitch, and then transfer that stitch back to the left hand needle. Keeping the yarn at the front, knit the beaded stitch. Then bring the yarn back to the front and work a slip slip knit decrease. Then carry on for the rest of the row. At the end of row 3, your lace should look like this. Row 4 is another purl row, so I'm just going to go ahead and purl all those stitches. And now we're on to row 5, which is worked the same as row 1. So I'm just going to knit to the point where I need to make the knit 2 together stitch. When you get to the knit 2 together stitch, a good way to check that you're in the right place is that the next stitch on the needle should be the yarn over stitch that we made in row 3, and the stitch after that will be the centre stitch with the bead. So it's those two stitches that we're going to be knitting together. So knit those two together, bring the yarn forward for a yarn over, and then carry on knitting. And that's what it will look like at the end of row 5, and we're just going to work the last row, which is row 6 and a purl row, and then after that row you'll be able to see more clearly how the stitch pattern looks. And there we go, that's the lace diamond stitch pattern.